I've launched a new and amazing community, which is a membership called the Emotional Freedom Collective, which is a loving, supportive community. But this is a community where you get a lot of love, support, and learning within the space of just having a membership for to get live sessions. You get 2 live sessions a month. You get to do Q&As with me. You get an amazing reflection journal that's been created by my whole team. And you get a lot of community support in our Facebook groups and the other groups that we have. You can join now for just $1 because that's a special offer right now. I would love to see you guys in there. So, Kevin, what I want to do, I want to move to the next section of what we talked about, which is where does self-sabotage, if you can give people examples, we'll both try and give them examples of where they can see it. So a lot of people may not know this is what self-sabotage is, but now if we create some awareness, they may figure it out. So what are some ways you've seen self-sabotage in your clients' lives, in your life, etc.? Some ways that you can actively bring out where people can recognize and be like, oh shit, now I know that that's what it is.
Mm-hmm. The best way we can identify where we're doing this on our own is looking at patterns that show up. And in the work that I do with helping people with their relationships, you know, you could sit there and point the finger and blame, oh, well, I just date narcissistic men or toxic people or whatever it is. And you still got 3 fingers pointing at back. So where can you take some ownership in this? You might be fishing in the wrong pond. That's a small pond with dirty water. You know, you could be fishing in the ocean with the big fish. So where are you fishing is something to look at. But taking ownership of the pattern and saying, okay, well, what does this say about me? If we think about a mirror, you're not looking at the mirror, you're looking at yourself through the mirror. So that, especially in relationships, that person, well, how am I responding and reacting around this, and not looking at the person and looking at you. So that will show you a lot of yourself. And with the self-awareness is the step number 1. And once you have the self-awareness, you can start to see how you might be sabotaging some things, because now you're taking ownership, because now you see it in yourself. And especially in relationships, it's insecurities are one of the biggest things that get in the way. It creates jealousy. It creates a sense of controlling, so that let me control you and your behavior so that I can feel comfortable. And it really does come back to I. And yeah, I would say the biggest one that I see is the insecurities, and it's from the hurts and the fears from the past. Something happened in my past, you know, either my father was like this, and then now they're saying doing something similar, so I think it's a similar situation when it's really just a completely different person. Your body does. Your body's like, this feels similar to when I got hurt in the past. I don't feel safe. Let me sabotage this. Versus let's work through this together, which is what a healthy relationship is. Yeah. Often push people away because they're not there. Well, guess what? You're not there either. Nobody's there. We're here.
Right. In relationships, one way I see it is in doubting your partner a lot. You doubt the relationship because, so the basis is that you don't, deep down inside, your wounded beliefs, not your real beliefs, your trauma and your wounded beliefs tell you that you don't deserve to have, a true relationship. You don't deserve to have love. You don't deserve to have like a successful, consistent relationship. And so you start to doubt your partner. When things start going well, especially, that's when self-sabotage kicks in, because that's not aligned with your past experiences, right? You have not experienced something that's gone consistently well in that space. So when it starts to go well, that's when the self-sabotage kicks in, and you tell yourself like, oh my God, my partner is like, he's spending more and more time at work. I'll bet he's like, speaking to his secretary or speaking to somebody else, or he's going somewhere else afterwards. Or you talk about, you think about your partner and them complimenting you a lot and them showing up for you. And you're like, oh my God, this person is just so full of shit. They want something from me. I've seen that a lot. And it's difficult to hear and process when, someone says to you, like, I feel like my partner is just full of shit. He's trying to compliment me and show up and I'm not attracted. Because again, the self-doubt tells us I don't deserve someone to really show up for me and love me. And, the biggest ways I see them also happening is criticism. Criticizing a partner, blaming them, shaming them until they feel like, you know what, I got to get the fuck out of here. Then the relationship doesn't work. And then these people who, obviously all of us who believe, I don't deserve that success, we go back and make this story to everyone and say, see, you know what, I told you, fucking relationships suck. you know, there's no good guys or girls or people out there. There's the same story that happens every time. And it's just reliving that pattern because we haven't been able to change that.
Another what you're talking about is there's a saying that I don't believe is entirely true, but in this context, which is you can either be right or in love. You can't have both. And if you're always the right one,
right,
you know, you're going to push people away. Think about two people.
Right.
If we're always right, it's not going to work.
Right.
You know, so being open.
What movie did you get that from, Kevin? Tell me.
Wait, say again. What
movie did you get it from?
It wasn't from the personal development industry. But, yeah, it's true and it's not, right? Like sometimes you are right and you can be in love, but we right all the freaking time.
Right.
Being willing to be the one that's wrong. Being willing to be the one that's
yeah.
Being willing to be the one that's like teach me and help me learn.
Exactly, that's open. You know, the one that's open to consider discussion, consider like change, consider like, you know,
where
I'm coming from. And there's another piece to self-sabotage. Actually, I just want to let all of you folks know I was doing, again, like some more research on it. And it's called the approach avoidance conflict, which I think Dr. Judy Ho is the author of like this book called Stop Self-Sabotage, and she's a psychologist. She describes it as to how initially we want to approach something. Initially, we want to learn from something. We want to grow. We want to get it. But as we're going along the way, and the patterns of this, I believe, come so strongly back into our wiring, especially, I think, with caregivers who tell us that you're not going to get this until you do this. You're not going to make it unless you do that. You're not going to be loved, basically, in short form, unless you prove yourself to me. Mm-hmm. And so when we're going for something, we suddenly hear those voices in the back of our head saying, but I don't know if I can actually get it. What if I can't do it because I'm not there? What if I can't, excuse me, get married because I don't fully understand commitment? What if I can't fully show up for someone because I can't show up for myself? And then at that point, we go from the approach side to the avoidance side, which is where a lot of the time now we start to just like almost ghost the situation to some degree, where we're like, oh, you know, I'm leaning back. And that's what procrastination is, right? It's not being able to actually commit to the arduous nature of like doing the work, to the conflict in the moment, to having the deep discussion, to being approached to change, because the biggest aspect of where we talk about is that, you know, in our neuroscience, change is fucking scary. Yeah. And so changing from that pattern of, you know, I only get love when I prove myself. I only get success when I, you know, show up for someone in the way exactly that they wanted me to. Changing from that is scary as fuck.